Sure the sound is okay. I'm trying something. All right. I think I got my technology working appropriately today. We got our Insta fam is already here. Looks like we've got some YouTube and Facebook folks here. As you join, just check in, say hi so I know who's here. I already checked in with my Insta fam. Um, so good evening, good evening, good evening. Hey, I have to call you, Elder Paul. I have to call you. New logo. So we need new merch. Um, I am Hey Keisha Michelle. I'm glad to see everybody coming in the room. Had a little bit of a technical thing going on, trying to make sure everything is set up. I'm so glad to have you guys back with me. It's Thursday night. It's another episode of Change Talk. And I, as usual, hey, how are you? I'm your host. My name is Tiffany Jenkins. And tonight we're going to be talking about stress. A lot of that going around lately, especially in the past couple of days. Hey, Miss Linda, how are you? Um, a lot of that going around lately. Last week, this is the topic we were supposed to talk about. For those of you who reached out, thank you very much. My mom got hit. She was in a car accident. Somebody ran into them when they went to go pick up dinner. Everybody's great. Car, not so much, but we can get another one of those. Everybody walked out unscathed. Thank God. So, for all of you guys who reached out and were asking what the family emergency was last week, that's what it was. Everybody's fine. We're great. So I do appreciate all of the thoughts and prayers from you guys. And so because of everything going on, I figured rather than completely scrap that topic, I think this is something that we all need some help with managing, is our stress, right? Like it's literally everywhere. Um, if we're talking about racial stuff, that's stressful. If we're talking about just surviving what has now been 13 months in some form of quarantine. We've been in the pandemic for um, 13 months now. We've not necessarily been back to normal. We're in a new normal, I guess you could argue, of mask wearing and social distancing. And although there are some states that are starting to open back up, things aren't necessarily as great as they used to be. Yes. Um, so I figured let's jump in and let's talk about stress a little bit and ways that we can navigate it, particularly because um, this week, actually for the last couple of weeks, what's been coming up a lot in sessions when I've been working with my folks one on one has been um, just this general feeling of blah. And a lot of folks feel like they should have it together by now because we are 13 months in and they should have some routine and they should be used to it. But that's really not the case. Um, it's different strokes for different folks. As a matter of fact, the New York Times came out with an article last week, early this week, about something called languishing, right? So it's not necessarily depression. It's not, anything pathological that we can diagnose, but it's just this feeling that things are not quite as great as they could be. And that feeling is causing a lot of pressure and a lot of stress on some folks. So I think we got a topic that is pretty timely here when we talk about stress. So, first thing I want you guys to understand is that there are actually two different kinds of stress. There is good stress. I know that seems like an oxymoron. That's called eustress. And then there's bad stress. That's the stress that we all seem to be kind of intimately familiar with. That's distress. So from a clinical perspective, when we talk about stress, there are actually two kinds of stressors that we look at. And if you've got stress or the good stress, it probably means that you got a promotion, you got married, you got a new house, you won the lottery. You did all of these great, something good. It's something positive. It's those happy feelings. Still causes a little bit of stress and can put your body through some changes, but it's the kind that we want to be in, right? Like wouldn't want to win the lottery right now? I'll take a winning ticket. I won't even ask for much. Give me a couple of 100,000, I'll be all right. But those things still um cause a chemical reaction of sorts in our body, right? So hormones are still released and we still get excited when we have these good things happen to us. Usually the good feelings, we have them, right? We get flustered, we get excited, we get that adrenaline rush, and then we kind of calm down and then we go back to normal, right? My Insta fam is going crazy, like, yes, lottery, yes, yes. Lydia, hey. So who wouldn't want to win the lottery? Who wouldn't want to get a promotion? Who wouldn't want to get a new house or a new car or whatever the case may be, right? But here's the thing about the way that your body is designed. Now, that same rush of feel good chemicals is kind of the same reaction that your body has when you're in stress, right? We all know about the fight, or fleet. I'm getting tongue tied. Too many F's. Fight, flight, like a bird, fly, or freeze response, right? That's when your body experiences some stressor negatively, and it has to determine whether it's going to defend itself, whether it's going to run away, or whether you're going to have kind of the deer in headlights kind of response to whatever is going on, right? Now, yes, you made it. I'm so glad you made it. So here's the thing about that. It has a very real purpose, right? Just like when we have good stress and we get that surge and it makes us feel good and we get all those feel good chemicals, when our bodies are stressed, when there's a perception of danger, our body automatically starts releasing other chemicals that help our blood get pumped to our muscles, pump our heart and our lungs a little bit more, so that if we have to make a quick exit, our body is already geared up for that quick exit. We don't have to think about telling our legs to run. We don't have to think about telling our lungs that we need more air. We don't have to think about telling those chemicals to go through our body. Cortisol is one of those, yes, but cortisol is not the only chemical that gets released. And we're going to talk about cortisol in a minute. But there are a host of chemicals that get released to help us do whatever we need to do, right? Here's the problem with that. When we are in stress, when we are, what we call stressed out, what happens is our body goes in that immediate threat response. Everything starts getting released and, stuff gets conjured up. The first thing that happens typically is that your muscles tense up, whether you're aware of it or not. Most of us, when we get stressed, our shoulders end up creeping somewhere up toward our ears when we really should have our shoulders rounded up, down, and back. We should have a relaxed posture. And the reason for that is your brain, a signal has been sent to your brain saying, danger, danger, danger. And when that signal gets sent to your brain, it releases this chemical reaction. Well, that chemical reaction was only supposed to give your body that quick jump of whatever chemicals it needed in that moment to get you started, but it wasn't meant for your body to stay in that state. And that's the problem. Now, one of the chemicals that is released in that process is cortisol. And what we know about cortisol is cortisol increases belly fat, that visceral fat around our middle section, right? So not only She said, now you tell me. Sorry. Not only are we putting excess strain on our heart, on our muscles, on our lungs, on our blood vessels, on our entire system, but we're also increasing our chances for obesity, which increases our chances for diabetes. We're increasing our risk for heart disease. And if you are an African American female, these are all of the things that are more likely to kill you than anything else. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. But I got good news too, right? So here's the thing. We don't want to completely shut this system down. Stress in and of itself is not a bad thing. Like I said, we've got good stress and we've got bad stress. Dr. Carey said, is that why I can't lose these 30 pounds? It might be. Stop letting these people stress you out, Doc. Stop letting them. We have to get back control of our body. After I decided to divorce, I lost 7 to 10 pounds. Yes, it happens for my Latinas and Latinos too. We're all kind of in that same boat. Where we're at higher risk for some of these things that our white counterparts don't have as much of a risk for. So it's dangerous all the way around. So what happens is we need cortisol when we're in those fight, flight, freeze moments, right? So I don't want you guys to think that like there's a way to completely kill your body of all the, never have cortisol again, never have any. No, that's not the way it works, right? What happens is that when you are in that constant state of stress, it wears down your body's natural processes. Think about driving a car in like the highest gear just to ride down the street and go get bread. Hey Deb, welcome. Just to go, just go driving. The longer you stay in those high gears, the more wear and tear you put on your car's engine, right? My husband is probably in the other room cringing because one time I did that not knowing it. I drove down the entire Atlantic City Expressway from Camden County to the Atlantic City Convention Center. Almost made it there and blew out my car and didn't realize why. And it was in the whatever the second gear was. He wasn't real happy. They fixed it. I didn't completely destroy it. I just did a nice little job on it. So you cannot sustain that for long, but you also don't want to get rid of it, because if a bear walked into the room where you are right now, I do not need you to try and figure out how he got there, if it's male or a female, if it's a North American brown bear or a Kodiak or whatever. I don't need you to do any of that. I need you to immediately figure out how you get yourself to safety, right? So in that regard, stress has a very real purpose, right? It's necessary. What we've got to learn to do is not let it be in the driver's seat all of the time. Because when you're in that response, the logic side of your brain calms down, actually takes a little nap. Okay, you don't need me right now. And so you can't think clearly. And this is why stress is related to issues with your memory, problems with the performance. It's linked to, like I said, some of the physical symptoms of like heart disease and things like that. But brain fog, all of that stuff that we kind of over caffeinate to compensate for, me included, I'm a caffeine junkie, right? Can easily be resolved if we learn to regulate our bodies, get out of the stress response, and move ourselves into that very calm, very centered logic side of our brain. So, yes, think about that after you're away from the bear. I don't need you thinking about it in that moment. That's not gonna work. Okay. As I drink this Red Bull. Yes, as you drink this Red Bull. We're gonna talk about that though. Low caffeine is great because caffeine is a stimulant. So in small doses, caffeine is great. But here's the thing, caffeine is addictive. And the more you drink, the more you need. So if you're think about it, you're setting a cycle into motion, right? So you are stressed out. And because you're stressed out, your brain is foggy and you may not even be getting sleep, right? So you combine the not getting sleep, which is going to make your brain foggy, with the stress response that helps you be foggy. And then you introduce caffeine thinking, okay, let's just reverse it. Let's just throw this in here and I'll get through it. Well, what happens is you still haven't done anything to bring the logic side of your brain back in order. All you've done was kind of activate you've gone through the motion. You've sent a little electrical charge so that you're moving. That's why what you'll find is at some point the caffeine stops working. And they got to use more of it, and more of it, and more of it, and more of it. And then that leads to other heart health issues and circulation issues and hypertension issues that we just don't want. Right. So anybody who knows me knows that I'm not anti-caffeine. That's not at all what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that can't be the way we mitigate our stress response. All we're doing is kind of putting a Band-Aid on something that needs to be cleaned and sutured, right? Stress linked to tears. I get so angry when that happens. So it's not that stress is linked to tears, but because you're in that fight, flight, freeze response, logic isn't on board. You're a purely emotional, reactionary creature. That's why a lot of people cry when they get really stressed out, because you don't. And most folks, when they're stressed out or really, really angry and they're crying, and you ask them what's wrong, even if they know what's wrong, they can't really articulate it because the logic side of your brain just kind of went to sleep. The stress response is activated. And so it's like, hey, we're in danger. We just got to get out of danger. We got to get out of danger. And this side of your brain that controls the logic goes to sleep. So that might be why you're kind of a little more teary when you're upset. So I don't want to just leave you there. I don't want you to believe that you can't have caffeine and you're just going to be fat and it's just going to be gloom and doom. No, that's not it, right? There are some very, very simple ways to get control of your stress, right? Very, very simple. Yeah, you are the bear in the room. I've been around you when you weren't so happy. But here's what you do. Very, very simple thing. And it sounds simple. I mean, it is simple, but it's not easy. I want you to divorce those two concepts. They're not the same thing. Simple does not mean easy. Okay. Simple means it's not a whole lot of steps. You don't need a whole lot of training. You just got to practice it. Easy is not necessarily what we're talking about here, because it is going to take some effort. When you start feeling like you're stressed out and overwhelmed, one of the first signals that your brain gets to go into that fight, flight, freeze response is tight muscles. So think about the last time somebody made you really, really angry. How tight were your back and your shoulders? How clenched was your jaw? How bad of a headache did you have because your brow was so furrowed and you were so angry? The first thing that you do, usually that's your brain's first signal, is your muscles get tight. When your muscles get tight like that, the first thing you need to do is try and tense them a little bit more and then relax them as much as you can. Again, simple, not easy, right? Because this requires you to be present with your own body. And that is something that we have gotten out of the habit of because we over-medicate ourselves. And what do I mean by that? We overly caffeinate ourselves. I know folks who smoke. We're on a ton of different medication for a bunch of different things. And we cannot really get back into our bodies. Yes, it is absolutely yoga. This is like yoga 101, right? You have to relax your body so that you cut off that signal to your brain that's saying, there's a bear in the room, there's a bear in the room, there's a bear in the room, right? Once you can get back into your body and just tighten and release, tighten and release, tighten and release, you'll start to feel your actual muscles relax, a feeling that some of us probably haven't felt in a while, right? You'll feel your muscles start to relax. When your muscles start to relax, you'll notice that your breathing starts to slow down. And suddenly you become like, whew, right? Doesn't happen instantly. That's why I'm saying this is simple. It's not easy. It takes practice. If you've ever been in a yoga class, this is some of what they teach you in yoga is to be present with your breath. Sometimes they'll say to be present with your body. It's the same concept. And it's not based on any kind of spiritual practice. This is pure biology 101. That when we are tense and stressed and uptight, we cannot breathe properly. We don't fill our lungs with enough air because we start breathing very shallow. We can't think clearly because you've activated the stress response, not the logical response. And so if we can practice doing that and bringing ourselves back into our bodies and calming down just a little bit, we've won at least this battle with our stress. Now, one of the easiest ways to practice this is not to wait until you get stressed out. And I don't want you to do that because that kind of defeats the purpose. The best way to do this is tonight. Before you go to bed, when you're laying in bed, when everything else is off, and the last thing you do before you close your eyes, or I'll say the first thing you do after you close your eyes and get in bed, start with the muscles in your feet and your ankles. Tighten them as much as you can, hold to the count of 3 and release them. And then repeat it. Tighten them, hold to the count of 3 and release them. And I want you to do that same thing with every muscle group in your body. So you start with your feet and your ankles, you move up to your calves, move up to your thigh muscles, even your pelvic muscles, tightening and releasing, your arms, your everything, all the way down. Even opening your mouth as wide as you can get it for the wide stretch, and then squeezing your face in like a prune for a really tight stretch and releasing it. If you can do that 3 times and not fall asleep, I'll be impressed. Or maybe a little worried because maybe you might be a little stressed out. I'm not sure which way to take that. Yes, it is kind of a form of meditation as well. It's simple. Again, it's very simple. It's not always easy because it's going to require you to be intentional with your practice, right? And if you do that, if the only thing you do is focus on breathing, taking really deep cleansing breaths, breathing from your belly, getting everything in, everything out, you'll find that you're like almost instantly more relaxed. Okay. So here's the takeaway. If you've learned nothing else, we've got good stress and bad stress. Most of us are more familiar with the bad stress than we are the good. And we want to change that because the longer we stay in that stress response, the more pressure we're putting on literally every system in our body. And if you are we'll say black or brown woman, then this is stress that you can't afford because just walking around in your own skin every day is stress enough. You've got to find a way to offload that and relax and be present in your own body. Now, one thing I will tell you is this works anywhere because it doesn't require any equipment. It doesn't even require anybody to know that you're doing it. So the next time somebody gets on your nerves, you can just, tense and relax. No, outside of, when you actually start moving your facial muscles, nobody actually has to know that this is what you're doing. It's a very, very, very portable skill that you can take with you. Right. And we need these kind of stress response, we'll say de-stress things that we can do, because it's going to help us not only feel better, but it's also going to help us to be better. Because the less stress you have, the more present you can be, the more focused you can be. And who doesn't want that? Granted, it's not a winning lottery ticket or any of those other things we talked about in the beginning, but it is literally something that can add years to your life. And that is the important thing. We've got enough stressors that are coming at us. We've got environmental stuff. We've got this work-life balance we've all been trying to kind of juggle. We've got very real environmental stuff with, just like disease and infection and all this other kind of stuff that's going around. We need to find as many tools as we can to protect ourselves. Okay. So hopefully that made sense to you guys. I am really, really grateful that you could join me tonight. I think I got everybody on my Insta fam, got all the questions. Let me just make sure. Yep. I think I got all of you. Great tips. Thanks. Great. I'm glad that you found them useful. I try to do this every Thursday night at 9:00. I've been including my Insta fam on these the last couple of weeks that I have not been technologically challenged on. So I'm very grateful to my Insta fam for joining. Thank you guys so much. Don't forget to join the Change Fam if you're not already on our mailing list. You want to get on our mailing list because you will get some sneak peeks, some discounts, and there's some really great things that are coming that the folks who are on the mailing list are going to have access to first, and they're going to be very, very limited. You rock too. So I want you guys to, if you're on Insta, there's a link in the bio that'll take you to the website where you can sign up for it. If you're on any of the other platforms, just go right into the bio. It should take you to the website and you can sign up there. What else? I think that's it, guys, for this week. I'm looking through my notes. Hold on. Oh, if you ordered an anthology, can I just say thank you? I really, really, really appreciate everyone who ordered a copy of the anthology that I was in with Dr. Yazid. If you ordered a copy of that and you haven't gotten it already, just keep your eyes peeled on your mailbox. You should be getting that soon. I'm completely sold out of the copies that I have. So if you did not get your signed copy, sorry, I'm kind of out. That's why you should be on the mailing list, because you would have had yours already. But you can go to www.amazon.com and you can put in Shut 'Em Down Anthology and just grab your copy from there. I'm telling you, you got to be on that mailing list. The mailing list is kind of quick. Love the sneak peeks. I am very glad that you like the sneak peeks, and I do owe you something, which is coming tomorrow, Mary. So thank you. So like I said, thank you so much. We'll be here next Thursday. I almost said Monday. I don't know why. We'll be here next Thursday at 9 p.m. I try to keep it at 20 to 30 minutes so that I'm not kind of taking up your whole night, but I try to make sure that there are some tips that are going to be useful to help you with anything from self-care, leadership, and just behavioral health, the topics that I'm kind of passionate about. I try to make sure that I can drop a few gems to help make you a little bit healthier, a little bit wiser, to help you awaken your change. See what I did there? All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And oh, thank you. Yes, please find the mailing list so you can get on it. Great, great, great stuff. So much, so much, so much. Cuzzo, hey. So much good stuff in store. I am really excited. And I'm gonna stop talking before I spoil all of it. I know some folks are waiting for me to spill the tea. I am not going to spill the tea. I do have to give a very, very, very good shout out to you two. Have to give a shout out to Lydia Ward, Ed Ward, and Chris Steed for a phenomenal photo and video shoot on Sunday. I am still just on cloud 900 from everything that happened on Sunday. And if you're on the mailing list, she's saying, spill it, spill it. I can't keep a secret. Very barely, because I am bursting at the seams. What I will say is, if you're on the mailing list, you'll find out before everybody else will. So that's all I'm going to say. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you. Oh, you haven't even seen the amazing ones yet. Thank you guys for joining me. I really don't take it for granted that you're here with me. If there's anything that you would like to hear covered on the show, whether you're on my Insta fam or following from the other platforms, just drop me a note. You can DM me on Insta or on any of the other platforms, because I really want to make this stuff that you guys want to talk about. So, love all of you guys. Stay safe. Wash your hands. Wear your mask. Protect yourself. Be safe. Be well. And I'll see you next time. All right, Insta fam. Love you. I'll see you guys later. Make sure you join the mailing list. Uh-oh. I don't know how to get out.